What's good, man? Welcome back to another episode of Lead with Purpose. It's your host, Low Key Liv. You feel me? And we back with another one today. Today we're gonna be discussing the law of navigation. So yeah, we got to dive right into it. Let's do it.
All right, law of navigation, the summary. We got through that too.
Yeah, facts.
We got through it. But the law of navigation, it says one thing all leaders have in common is the ability to see more and before. They see more than others do because they see the big picture and they see what's coming before others do as well. This gives them an advantage when it comes to navigating for the people they lead. In order to be a successful leader, you must learn the importance of the law of navigation and be willing to navigate the course for your followers. And as a backstory for to explain the law of navigation, they went into these two explorers, Ronald Amundsen. Edmondson. He was a Norwegian explorer, and before he went, they were both trying to get to the South Pole.
Yep.
And on their way to the South Pole, the South Pole is treacherous territory. It's hazardous. It's uncharted land. Not a lot of people are there. Blah blah blah. So these are two explorers. These two guys wanted to get there first, and Amundsen was one of them, and the other one was a man by the name of Robert Falcon Scott. So basically, both the explorers set out with their team of people. One group came back, and the other group didn't. And I'm gonna spare the details for the story.
Yeah.
But one group came back, and the other group didn't because of this law of navigation that came into play. One guy, Amundsen, was extremely, extremely detailed in his preparation and his planning. He studied indigenous people and cultures and how they traveled and navigated the South Pole. He studied what dogs to take, the equipment that was needed, rest points,
Landmarks, all types
of stuff. And the other one was just like, hey, I've done a couple of expeditions around the U.S. I'm just going to use that information and let's just go do it. And one group came back and the other group didn't. So that was the summary of the chapter. Like I said, I'm sparing the details because just in case somebody reads it.
Yeah, just in case I want to go grab it. But so off of that, there's really 5 rules of navigators. So number 1 is to keep their emotions from clouding their vision. So I'm not gonna read it word for word, but what I get from that is basically saying like, hey, like you have a vision, you see the vision, you know what you want to get done. You can see it down the road, and some emotions might come into play. There might be things that's like, hey, like it's not the right time, or you got to take the right people, or sometimes it's just you just got to pick and choose your battles, and emotions come a part of that. So like you can't let emotions like really cloud what you were doing. Like the people that didn't make it back, his emotions were heavily involved. He was so determined to make it there that he didn't understand like, hey, like we don't have the right equipment, we don't have the right gear. I didn't do enough studying. Like
I'm tired.
Like my team is tired. Like the chance of us even making it back are like slim to none. And he put it. He didn't really put his pride to the side. Like he was so determined on the goals, determined on the vision. He wasn't listening. He wasn't listening. He didn't take account to everyone's emotions and everyone that even his team. So like that's why they didn't make it back.
Number two. Of the law of navigation, rule number 2 is navigators draw on past experience. And I thought that was just huge.
Yeah, so this one, what I got from this one is basically saying we all had some experience doing something, and wherever we're trying to do moving forward, we have to look back on our past experience to learn from those and to make what we're trying to do, our vision, a little bit more clear and help us. So we got to look back on past failures or even past successes just to see like what is going on, how did this work, how could it be better, and then from that, use that as some stepping stones to help you get to your vision.
This chapter I'm going to speak in terms of a coach. Like I'm going to have examples from the classroom or life, but a lot of this stuff is what you do as a coach week to week with a game plan and everything. So law number 3, okay? Navigators examine the conditions before committing.
Yeah, so in this story, it was basically the conditions of the weather, the dogs, the right equipment. But in our day-to-day lives, I'm going to say in terms of my life, you have to examine like what goes into like your vision. So like you need to like really take into account everything. So now like with Trump in office and everything like that, like there's tariffs going into stuff. There's different laws going around, shipping rules, this, that, and the third. Because I'm in a lot of different fields, so like you have to take those things into account before you just commit and say, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do
Yeah,
it. So
knowing where people and the space and time that you're at,
yeah,
what it
and
is, what it looks like around you. Reading the room,
yeah,
basically.
basically being aware of your surroundings, and basically like what you said, like being aware of everything that's going on around
Mm-hmm.
you, and not just hopping into something and before you even examine the conditions.
And in
So
summary, this one says, good navigators look at the present and try to anticipate the future so that they can count the cost before making commitments for themselves and their team.
yeah, so basically you don't want to overly commit to something without having the proper details.
Law number or rule number 4 of the law of navigation is navigators listen to others.
Yeah, this
Another
is
big
a
one.
constant theme with all the laws that we done did thus far. Is this you? However much you communicate, you got to be also willing to listen as well. So
Yes.
you have to listen to others because, like, at the end of the day, like it's not a one man show. Like whatever we have in our minds, like it's going to take other people around us to help get us there in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So you have to listen to others, even if you don't directly agree with what they say. You can still listen to it and navigate that into the way of how it could be beneficial to you. Just because someone is not saying directly how you want them to say it doesn't mean that you can't apply it to what you're going through.
Yep.
So
And in summary, here it goes. It says, no matter how much you learn from the past. So no matter how much you do rule number 2, it will never tell you all that you need to know about the present. And no matter how good of a leader you are, you will not see everything you need to. That's why top-notch navigators and leaders gather information from many sources. And listening to the people around you on your team that you're leading or that came before you is one of the ways that you gain the wisdom to lead and go forward. Rule number 5 of the law of navigation is navigators balance both faith and fact.
yeah, so this one is kind of hard to do because like sometimes facts keep you from leaping out on faith, to be honest with you, and sometimes faith has you have you so confident in your faith that you don't look at the facts. So you have to balance out the two and look at the facts, but also have the willingness to believe in have faith in what you're doing as well. So that's what it really means by balancing out the two. Because some things like the facts will be like, yeah, there's no way that you should be doing that. Like it'll have all the analytics saying there's 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't do this. But once you take a leap of faith, then that's when the faith piece comes in and it balances out because the facts say, hey, don't do it. But my faith says, hey, yeah, do it. So that's where we equal out.
Or you get stuck looking for all the facts.
Yeah.
So like you don't take that first step, that initial step of getting yourself started because you're trying to go through every possible right, wrong, indifferent situation that may happen. So balancing faith and fact. So those are all 5 rules of the law of navigation. So this was like a subsection. This was a rule or a set in a law, and that helped it explain it a little bit more. And again, number 1 is navigators keep their emotions from clouding their vision.
Yep.
Number 2, navigators draw on past experiences. Number 3, navigators examine the conditions before committing. Number 4, navigators listen to others. And number 5, navigators balance both faith and fact, which leads us into question number 1.
Yeah, so question number 1 says, what is the process you should go through in order to successfully navigate your team?
I think you should scout ahead. And like I said, I'm gonna pull a
go-
lot to football.
Yeah, right.
All this whole chapter to me was a game plan.
Basically.
So at the beginning of the week, let's just say
Yeah,
Friday.
walk us through how you would go through.
So Friday night
game
happens,
plan.
right? Friday night happens. You play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Friday after the game, what you're doing is you're going back through and learning from your experiences. So for me personally, Friday night after the game, this is maybe 10 o'clock to like maybe 1, 2 in the morning.
Right.
You're doing a self-scout. So you're looking at the game, you're going back through the call sheet, you're looking at individual players, individual plays. What did they do good?
You're looking at performance as well.
Everything.
Okay.
So even win, lose, or draw.
Right.
It's a little bit easier to watch the film when you win. But even if you lose, there's things that you can build upon, or you sometimes you figure out why. There's like key plays in the game that you're like, oh, like that's when it turned to we lost this game or we could have won it. But then so Friday night you're doing all that self scouting, and on Friday nights I usually grade my QBs.
Right. Is it A through B or A through F, 1 through 10? How you do it?
1 through it's a plus minus.
Oh, plus minus.
So like it's plus my and the reason I did that is because I used to do a whole system. Like I used to grade the decision, the pre-snap process. It would take too long.
Yeah, right.
So I just go plus minus on the play. and then I'll add a comment in for, hey, like this is a plus play, but on this play you might have been able to make a better decision.
Okay.
But if the play was positive, then I usually give a positive.
And you do that through just your position group, or
as an OC, I try to get through everybody.
Yeah, right.
But for quarterbacks in general, I do the QBs. And I only go through because, like I'll only go through like maybe the first 5 drives. Because that kind of tells the story of the game, and at that point, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah,
like,
right. I need some sleep too.
So the first like 5 drives I'll get through of grading them. It can even be it'll be a minus play, like say we had an interception on the play, but your decision, your footwork, your progression read was well. Like I'll add those notes in. So
right.
that goes to learning from experience. So past experiences. And whenever I'm able to listen to the game, like all the emotion is gone. So like, when you come down from the game, and it might still be there residually if we lose, but if we win the game, like after that I get home, like it's all gone. So I'm able to look at the game
and actually watch the game.
Yeah, because they're on the sideline, it get
crazy. I'm already knowing.
Headset going, players are coming in and out, fans is in the stands, so you're emotional. So once you get to the crib and you can actually like watch it, you're making a decision. But then after that, you go through and we're looking at the next week's film. So we see the next teammate, an opponent. Wake up on Saturday. I may share a couple of notes as we watch it with a team. So all the notes that I have from my QBs or whatever position group that I saw, especially the offensive line, like, hey, these are the things that I think we could have did better on this play, and this play. And then we just jump right into scouting ahead for the next expedition or the next game.
Yeah, right.
And that just goes into, okay, now we're just looking at all types of research. And then I'm asking my coaching staff as well and my players, like, what did you like and what you don't like? What plays are you getting more comfortable with? What plays do you not like that we should scratch? Was there something in practice that you think we can do better? And now that's listening to your whole team. So then you start coming up with a game plan.
Yeah, you're right.
And then after that, man, you're just communicating through all of that. Again, one of the main points of this navigation and this leadership thing is communicating your ideas, because I may have a plan of attack that I'm thinking in my head, but if I don't clearly articulate it to people, especially my coaches and the players underneath me, they're not going to be able to fully grasp it. So when we get into the fire of the game, they're like, oh, he was thinking this, or and you're not able to do that. So you got to really, really get into communicating and listen to everybody around you. And then number 5, it says balance both faith and fact. Once you put the work in, just speed through. Once you put the work in at practice, hey, we ran this play 4 times, or we looked at this play 6 times, or we did this play twice, or we read the film and we know they're going to be in this certain defense and this on this formation. Now, literally, all it is stepping out on faith. And I can't tell you how many times where I had a play in my back pocket and the conditions were perfect and I didn't call it because I was too caught up on the analytics of it.
The facts. I
was still caught up on the facts. There was a play, it was a trick play, man, that we put in. I put it in the first week of the playoffs, but the week of the semifinal game 2 years ago at this point, we were playing Pine. 2 years ago, I was like, yo, we had just scored a touchdown, and I said, if the defense gets a stop, and y'all boys get me to the 35, if y'all get me to the 35-yard line on the right hash,
it's go time.
We're calling a trick play, because the trick play, we only practice it one way. So we had to be on the right hash for it to work, right? It was like a double reverse pass or whatever the case may be. But I was like, I'm calling it, especially if it's like first down or something.
I'm calling it. I got to. It's only right.
When I tell you the conditions came perfectly, like I was like, yo,
this is it.
They got me. I don't know what we did. We ran the ball. We got a first down, and we were on like maybe like the 37, maybe like the 33. It was in that range.
Yeah, so
and I was like, and we were on the right hash.
Like, this is it.
And I'm like, yo, I'm calling it. Can I call it, bro? Can I call the play? Let me call the trick. Can I call it? And then everybody was like, I don't know. But in that moment, as the leader and as the play caller, I should have just been like,
stepped out on faith, called to play.
man, we practiced it like 4 or 5 times during practice on Monday. We ran through it on Thursday.
Man, what? And as a previous player, let me say, as a previous player, one of the most annoying things that can happen that a coach could do is we keep practicing the trick play, practicing the trick play, practicing the trick play, and we never run it. Yeah. Like, what is the point of keep practicing it? And then everything like is like, this is it. Like, this is the call. We said, like, we all knew it. Practice with this. We practice on this hash, this out yard line, going this way. Like, we got all the perfect conditions.
And I prepped them.
And we looking at it like, yo, okay, like we already know we're gonna get the call, and the signal in something different. Like, that's one of the most annoying things.
Before the drive, I prepped everybody. Like, everybody had a key point in the play.
They was ready.
They were ready, and I was just nervous. It was the moment was too big.
Moment too big.
I didn't have the experience, but now now we just go back and restart the process. And it's right. I got to keep my emotions out of it. Like, I gotta understand that we practiced it, and the fact is that we did all these things. We put the work in.
And it literally say navigators examine the conditions before committing.
Yes,
you already had the
examined every condition, man.
You just had to commit. You just had to commit.
And so, you kind of let your emotions of anxiety, fear, and those have to go out the window, because whether the play works or it doesn't work, you're never going to know.
And as a play caller, like, those aren't familiar with like sports, like, you really don't have that much time to signal.
Man, you got
probably about like 5 seconds, if that. If that.
Okay, the play clock is what, 25 seconds?
25. You probably got like 5 to signal it in.
Boys is trying to get up still around.
Yeah. So you probably got like maybe like 15.
You probably get the play. You want the quarterback to have as much time as possible. You want the quarterback to have at least 15 seconds.
Because they still got to
play clock. Because they got to line up. They got to look at the down
so,
distance.
So like you probably got about 10 seconds.
You probably got 10 seconds to make another play
10 seconds
call.
max to get another play call. So yeah.
Yeah, so the pressure, it's a lot of pressure. But now I know from experience, and I'm going to be numb in those situations this coming season. Just be like, yo, we're calling it. Like, we practice this joint, pull it out. Pull it out the bag, because that was it. Do you have any? Or was that just...
No, yeah. So, like...
I know I took a long time.
It's cool. My process I go through in order to navigate a team. So, I do, like, I got clients, like personal training clients. Mm-hmm. So, number one, like, how I go about navigating them is, number one, I ask them, like, what are your goals?
Okay.
What goals do you have? And from there, we could get a baseline. Now, I ask, like, all these realistic goals or all these not? Okay. Like, if you're saying, like, you want to lose 40 pounds in 1 month, let's be real. I'm not the trainer for you. I don't think there's any trainer out there that can make you lose 40 pounds in 1 month. And if you can, and they're not just training you, like, you're doing something else. So I establish a plan first, and then I set steps to how we're going to achieve those plans. So for my clients, like, I start all my clients off with just body weight. I don't have them do any weight, like any weight. I need you to learn. I need you to learn how to move your body first. Yeah. Your natural weight before you start trying to move extra weight. Yeah. So that's my steps of plan. And then how you're moving that way is depending on how fast you move into weights or, resistance training, stuff like that. The number 3 is having milestones. I feel like milestones are important, especially when you're training people, because, like, people could get they could lose, like, their motivation really quickly when they don't see the results. And sometimes it's not always about the number on the scale, but it's about how you're feeling.
That goes back to the law of process.
Yeah,
as well.
So it's like it really, sometimes people get caught up on the number on the scale, but it's like, it's not always that. How your clothes fitting? How do you feel? How are you waking up? Do you have more energy than you not? Like, those things
are you doing more reps?
Yeah, are you doing more reps? Do you feel stronger? I can see you doing things like more. I could push you a little bit more because I know you're stronger than what you were.
That's huge.
So having those milestones, and then the last thing is this recording the results. And just to say, I always have people take pictures from their day one and then to whenever, like, usually monthly, because sometimes the results might not be crazy, but we could be like, hey, like, look at that muscle. You got that muscle there that you didn't have before.
Okay.
Or you could be like, look, you're wearing the same shirt, but how it feel? It fits completely different. Yeah. How much stronger are you feeling? So it's not always the number on the scale, like, for my clients, but I need them to understand, like, overall, how are you feeling your health overall? So yeah, that's just a little process that I go through.
I just learned something.
To navigate through my team.
And you said the first thing you do is ask them, what is your goal?
Yeah, what is your goal? What's your goal? I asked them what is their goal, and I also asked them, if you were doing this by yourself, how long do you think it would take for you to achieve it? Because now it puts it into perspective. Okay, if you would take 17 months to do this by yourself, and we get it done in 6, you can't say that you're not seeing results or nothing's happening because you said if you were to do it by yourself, or some people even keep it so real and say I wouldn't do it at all.
Oh yeah. So if
So
we do it any
yeah,
amount of
so if
time,
you're doing it on my time, then we're gonna get something out of it.
right?
But we already know if you were putting it to do it by yourself, you're not gonna do it at all, or
Okay.
you're barely gonna do anything. But I ask people, what is their goal from the jump, so we can establish that. We both had a conversation about it. We both know what we're working towards, and then that's how we set our steps for the plan. Then we set our milestones for it, and then the last thing is the easiest thing is just recording the results, and that's easy.
That's one thing I don't think I've done for the Q. For like, I guess just being a positional coach
Yeah,
was like, just sitting down with all the QBs and be like, yo, because you have goals as a coach for your kid.
and usually like I'm not like players always want to say like I want to win a championship, but I feel you on that. But like, what? How are we going to do that? What's the steps that we need to take to do
Like,
that?
what's your personal joints?
Yeah, like what are your personal goals? And just because you have personal goals, they can in line with your team goals as well. Your
Yeah,
personal goals can be in line with your team
because
goals.
if you get better, the team gets
Yeah,
better. So
yeah. So
I wonder if you've given me something to do over the next, because we're about to go into spring ball and then
yeah,
summer.
so it's a chance that I would even ask. I would start with my captains though. Yeah, what are y'all goals?
I mean, the QBs is
I'm saying like you're captains of the team because
yeah.
like I mean the QBs are just on the offensive side, but I'm pretty sure y'all got captains, offense, defense, whatever. However many captains that y'all got walk out before the game, just ask them like, what are y'all goals? And
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Because if you're working towards, I can hold you accountable now.
And y'all can hold each
So,
other
or
accountable.
like if I had a goal in my mind for you,
Mm-hmm.
it may not align to what you want for yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like it's important. That goes back to that listening.
yeah, gotta
Navigators gotta
listen
listen,
better.
so you just gotta be able to ask somebody like, what are your goals? I mean, they're obviously gonna say a championship, of course, but like, what are your goals though?
But yeah. So like if I connect both of our answers together, you said you go ahead and ask them what their goals are first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start scouting ahead. I was just missing that asking them first.
Yeah,
So
asking
I
them
started setting a plan
before you had.
before I got everybody's input. So
Yeah,
now
right.
if you could I'll just add that
To
to
the
the
list.
repertoire.
Yeah,
I'll be straight.
that's cool.
I'll be straight. All right, that's cool. Uh,
Yeah,
is this number 4
yeah,
going
yep,
back to you first, and then I'll
yeah,
answer it.
yep, yep, yep.
Number 4 says, "How do you choose who to run your ideas by before implementing them?"
So yeah, how I go about choosing my ideas or who to run my ideas past. I think I put like 5 or 6 things. So number one is experience.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is their field that they're in. Number three is their past success. Number four is their knowledge. Number five is their connection,
Mm-hmm.
and then number six is their resources. I'm gonna try to break them down real quick. So, um, depending on who I'm going to, I ask them for their experience because you might be more experienced. Experience and field go hand in hand because you might be more experienced in that field.
Okay.
So that's why I'm going to you, maybe because you're more experienced in that field. Number two is your past success. So how successful or have you been, or even what failures have you had that you're able to pass down? So I'm able to learn. We're able to learn. We're able to talk those things over. Um, Number four was knowledge. I feel like you have to have some knowledge, even from your experience and in your field, and from your past failures. I feel like that all goes into knowledge, having some knowledge and some feedback about whatever it is. I feel like connections is a big one, just because it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
So for example, like so if I was going to go, I wanted to start I don't know. I wanted to start a food drive,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew nothing about how to start a food drive. I would want somebody who has connections in that field, who has experience doing it. So that would
To
be
say, hey, I got this
yeah. I
idea.
got this. Yeah, I got this idea. How should I go about getting it off the ground?
Right.
And then number six was just the resources, and I'm not strictly talking about financial, but somebody might be like, we'll go back to the food drive thing, like, oh, I got these cans already ready, or I got a storage spot
Yeah.
here for the cans. Like, resources don't always have to be like just money, but also like they might have equipment, they might have a team, they might have volunteers, like stuff like
It could
that.
be skill
Yeah,
too.
skill, and they might have a skill to help you get it
It's a
done.
resource, yeah, for sure.
So those are just some of the things I go. Those are just some of the things I look for. Um, when I'm running my ideas past, whoever I choose to run them past.
Before implementing. Man, I kind of I answered this wrong. I guess I should say. It says, "How do you choose who to run your ideas by, and I kind of chose who I filter my ideas through.
True. I mean, it's the same thing. If you
Yeah,
filter them through, you're running them past them.
yeah. So like my wife is a big one now, and just because like that's like that's the person I'm sharing
Yeah,
my life
right.
with. So
Mm-hmm.
if I have an idea for something, or I want to do it, or I'm feeling anxious about it, I'll just talk to her.
Yeah.
My supervisors, I actually have really good bosses. Like my head coach and my
That's always a
principal
plus. That's always a plus.
and my team leader for my third grade team. For throughout the teacher, like we got 3 teachers, but he's like, how you
Yeah,
got.
yeah.
He's been deemed because he got the most experience and
Mm-hmm.
everything. He's been there the longest, and he's a beast at teaching. But like I got good supervisors, so if I'm really feeling something and if I have an idea, I'm comfortable enough to be like, hey,
I'm going through. Yeah, I'm
like
going through you.
I want to do this. Can we make this happen? And then I also run it past like the people that are around me. Like I'll ask, like if I have an idea for a play or a whole concept or like a series or package, I'll go and ask my quarterbacks like, yo, like,
Y'all like this?
yeah, y'all
Yeah,
like this?
y'all
Like,
like this or
is
not?
this fire or not? And I think that's like I don't know if I didn't have any coaches that did that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they were gonna put something in, they put it in.
Yeah.
But like I think with social media and everything and with like our phones to communicate, they send me stuff. Like I can't tell you how many times a player has sent me a text message of something that they've seen on Twitter or something, and they've tagged like our language for our offensive
Yeah.
system through it. And I've looked at it and been like, yo, we could
Like this
put that
in.
in. So like
Yeah.
I filter my ideas through a lot of people. I do think I need to do a better job because sometimes I'll just put my head down and work. So I'll just be like,
And to
and
be
I
honest
won't.
with you, I don't think there's anything as a bad idea. To be honest.
No, you just gotta step out on faith. If you take the proper, like they said,
Yeah.
if you take the proper scouting and precautions and you roll and you like talk around to people
Yeah.
and you got enough facts behind you to be like, okay, we might be able to do this. And then you just try it, that'd be the first step is just trying something because you
Mm-hmm.
really don't know.
Yeah.
And
What's
so,
going to happen?
I
Yeah.
mean, like look at this podcast series. We don't know if it's going to do
Yeah. We
good.
just.
We're just doing it because
Yeah.
the fact is that we know that we're going to read a book. We know we had situations in our life
That's
that we
relevant to it.
had to be leaders.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that you had the resources and everything to put it together because you already had, and then we just had an idea. And that's all it started was. Like, it just literally,
Yeah.
you texted me and was like, yo, I got an idea.
What
And I
you
was
think
just
about
like,
this?
I was like, oh, yo, let's do it. Like, we got
Yeah.
everything we
Basically,
needed to
we
do
got
it.
everything. We just got to make it shape.
And so, no, and that's, I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool how you see it come all the way together, man.
But yeah, so that's the law of navigation, man. So feel me? I feel like that was a good one.
It was.
There was some hits in this. I feel like the law process and the law of navigation go hand in hand.
They were hard to get through, man. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie to you. Like this was a hard.
but it was
These
some
last
hits.
two
We had
chapters.
some pre talks before this too. So
Yeah,
like,
but this was a hard chapter to get. Like it's as we grow with the series and everything. I think it's cool to just be transparent and vulnerable and be like, yo, sometimes we don't be feeling like going through this, but we're just sticking to the process.
yeah, sticking to it.
So,
Any closing remarks you got to say to the people before we get up out
I
of
have
here?
a question.
Oh,
What
yeah.
type of things? So since we started this, we in what chapter 4?
Yeah, chapter 4.
Since you started reading this, what are there anything that you've seen or done that kind of applies some of this in your day to day?
Yeah, I say, but I've been doing little things though, not like more so like not even really doing so much, but reevaluating what I'm doing now. Like for example, like with my class, like
Mm-hmm.
my training class, like how I said, like the having a plan and stuff like that. Before I was just going into it like I need to make sure they see the results, because if they don't see results, they're not gonna come back.
Right.
But then I'm like, hold up, it's not really. I mean, the results are a part of it, but that should be the last thing I'm worried about. We need to hit. We need to have the goal. We need to steps to achieve the goal. We need to have milestones. Like we need to have all that type of stuff laid out. So I needed to get my vision right for my clients before we even get to training.
Teaching them how to fall in love with the
Yeah,
process.
like they need to understand like this is not just gonna be a one night like a overnight thing. Like number one, and you just gotta trust me enough, and I gotta trust you enough that whatever you say you're gonna do when we're not together, and whatever I say I'm gonna do, we're gonna make sure we get it done. And that went back into me like even like locking in on my workouts and who they're tailored to, and why we're doing these type of workouts.
Yeah.
So I just start like doing that type of stuff just to make sure to resharpen my skills, just because like doing training, like I could having somebody work out is easy. Like it's easy, but having to train someone is a lot different because it goes into like you want to make sure they're doing the proper form, they're not getting hurt, you're not putting them in any type of like vulnerable situation where they don't feel comfortable. They're overly sore and they're not recovering properly, and then like you're working them out too hard where they don't even want to come back. So like there's a lot of other things that go into it, but that's just one of the things. Like there's some other stuff like in life as well, but I just tailored it to specifically just the training because that's the easy.
Oh, all right. So, I think that's it.
That's it.
That's
Any
all I
closing
got.
remarks you guys say?
No, I'm cool, man.
All right, cheers. So the next
Cool.
chapter is what? What is the next chapter?
Next chapter is
the
number 5.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. Number 5. Law of addition.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this one was huge. You know why this one was huge? Because you gotta, and I'm gonna send you the podcast link, man. But there was a link that talked about masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it CEO?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have started watching it.
The debate.
I don't know if I did, but send me the link. I'm gonna watch it.
What happened was that at the end of it, the host.
Oh wait, no, I did watch it. I did start watching it. I was over your house.
No, not that one. That's the police officer joint. That one was.
No. Oh no, I watched it over here. I'm tripping.
Oh yeah, you did start watching.
Yeah, I started watching it. Yeah.
So look, at the end of it, he was like, "What do you want to teach your son?" And he was like, "I want you to give more than you take out of life, because when you leave, there should be a debt. Like somebody should feel the fact that you're not there anymore. Like you should make such an impact with whatever you're doing,
that somebody should
or
feel
who you are, that if
feel.
you are not there, like, so you have to add to people's lives. Because if you are a person that's taken away from people's lives, or you're not, you're just stagnant and neutral, then you're not leaving enough of yourself in the day-to-day things that you do. So this law of addition, because I read it a couple weeks ago. So when I go back through it with that lens, it might open up some new doors for me, because I was like, man.
Yeah, so I'm excited to dive into this one because I feel like this one is one of them ones that's going to connect to me a lot more than the prior ones. Mm-hmm. So when we get into this one, I'm excited for this. That's the law of addition coming soon, man. Leaders add value by serving others.
That's a wrap.
So yeah, we'll be back soon, man. Y'all already know.